Hello. So as a UX consultant, I work on quite a lot of websites and apps and stuff like that, shocker. And one of the questions that I most commonly get asked by my clients is, can you help us tidy up our navigation? And I find that phrase tidy up to be really pertinent because in a lot of ways, a website or an app is a bit like a house. You know, when you first move in, you've got all these lovely empty rooms, all this space and this promise and this potential. But flash forward a few years and it gets utterly filled with crap. Admittedly, this might say more about how I keep my house than anything else, but let's stick with the analogy. Because I feel things like this on mobile navigation is kind of the digital equivalent of taking your crap and cramming it into a cupboard and trying to hold the door closed. It's not really a solution to the problem, and God forbid you actually have to get something out of that cupboard. So what are we to do? How do we reapproach these experiences? Well, I believe that there's a process to refactoring information architecture, and that's the key, because to have more mobile-friendly user interfaces, you first have to take a step back and think about information architecture. So let's do that through the lens of a totally real, not at all made-up client, the super awesome museum. So they've approached us with this big old hamburger menu full of stuff at the moment, and they want us to refactor it. So we start off with doing our research. There's a few steps to this. So first things first, start with a content inventory. Take a look at what's on the site, what's on the app. Go across the main themes of the content. Where's the duplication? Is anything out of date? This can be a bit lengthy and usually results in a massive spreadsheet, but you can use tools like the Screaming Frog crawler tool to speed this up massively. Then we can layer some data onto this. So we can use tools like Hotjar, Crazy Egg, GA to see which pages get looked at, which sections people spend more time in, where the repeat visits happen. And then there's the more qual side of the research. So this is a really awesome tool called TreeJack that lets you survey your information architecture and allows you to find out where the deficiencies are. So we've done our research. We've got some ammunition here. How can we turn this into something a bit more usable? Well, start with information architecture. So abstract it to a sitemap and look at what's in this site. Now, first step of this is to let go of the words. So using just some good principles of copywriting, being succinct, and making sure that people can get information in a more digestible way, can we drop some of the fluff out of this navigation? Yeah, we probably can. And we can do this using some card sorting to come up with some more user-friendly terms that people might use. Then there's a big piece about consolidation. Now, because we did our research, we know where the overlapping themes are in our content. By taking a look at those, we can look across our nav and see where do the user needs of certain sections overlap, and we can start merging them into fewer sections. So now we've got a much leaner top-level navigation. And now this is the really important one. We can start prioritizing. Now, part of our research was seeing which content people valued more, where people went more often, where repeat visits happened. Because we did this research, we can start saying, right, we know that these sections are far more important than these ones. So now we're really starting to cook with gas because we've got free, succinct, high priority items, and we can jump back into our user interface and say, right, we know what we need to prioritize, we know the items we want to draw out into that top level navigation to be visible on mobile. That's how we move from having a clunky old hamburger menu to something a bit more user friendly. Last step, of course, is to test the bugger. And there's so many ways you can do this. You can prototype, you can show it to people, you can do another TreeJack survey using the new navigation against the old one. So there we go. That's a bit of a whirlwind tour, but 5 steps to refactoring and information architecture. I appreciate that a lot of this is very basic stuff, but what I hope it does is help you understand that to have a good user interface, you need to start out with a good information architecture. And sometimes you need to take a step back and work through a process like this to get there. Thank you very much.